What if I told you that the very thing you were most ashamed of could be the key to your freedom? Think about it for a second. The part of yourself you hide, the thoughts you don't admit even to your closest friend, the feelings you bury so deep they almost feel like someone else. So what if that's not your enemy? What if that's the door you've been afraid to open your entire life? We've all been trained to keep certain parts of ourselves locked away. In America, especially, where image is everything, we learn early on to smile when we're hurting, to stay professional even when we're breaking, to post the highlight reel while hiding the messy truth. We become experts at playing the role, the good parent, the loyal friend, the reliable worker, while inside there's an entire world we've silenced. Why? Because we've been taught that if people saw all of us, our anger, our envy, our fears, they'd reject us. They'd love us less. Maybe they'd walk away entirely. So we protect ourselves by hiding. We wear masks so convincing that eventually we forget they're masks at all. But here's the paradox. The more you hide, the more trapped you become. The mask might protect you from judgment, but it also cuts you off from your own power. That unacceptable part of you. It's not just your darkness, it's also your strength, your creativity, your authenticity. Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, warned that what you do not bring to consciousness will come back as fate. The parts of you you've buried aren't gone. They're still there, shaping your choices, your relationships, your happiness, whether you realize it or not. In this journey, we're going to step into that hidden room inside you. We're going to look at the side of yourself you've been running from. Not to shame it, but to reclaim it. Because maybe, just maybe, your freedom has been waiting for you in the very place you swore you'd never look. Before we dive deeper into this journey, take a quick moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. That way, you'll all be the first to know when I release the next video, packed with the kind of insights that can shift the way you see yourself and the world. Don't just watch, stay connected. Your next breakthrough might be just one video away. Carl Jung had a word for the mask we all wear, the persona. It's the version of ourselves we present to the world, the polished, filtered, socially acceptable self. The persona is not inherently bad. In fact, it's necessary. Without it, we'd struggle to function in society. It allows us to play different roles: parent, partner, leader, friend. But there's a danger most people never see coming. The danger is when you start to mistake the mask for your actual face. In modern American culture, the persona is almost a requirement for survival. From the time we're kids, we're taught to be polite, stay positive, and look on the bright side. As adults, the pressure only intensifies. Be professional, don't take things personally, keep it together. These phrases sound harmless, even helpful, but what they often mean is, hide anything that makes people uncomfortable. And so, we do. At work, you smile at a boss who treats you unfairly. You answer, "I'm fine," when a coworker asks how you are, even if you haven't slept in days. You push through burnout, because showing fatigue could make you seem weak or unreliable. On social media, you post the vacation photo that makes life look perfect, but not the one where you were crying in the hotel bathroom. You share achievements, filtered sunsets, and date night selfies, while the arguments, the loneliness, and the uncertainty stay hidden behind the screen. In relationships, you play the role you think is expected of you. The supportive friend who's always there. The agreeable partner who avoids conflict. The strong one in the family who never asks for help. You become what others need you to be until you forget what you need yourself to be. This is the trap of the persona. It gives you acceptance, but at the cost of authenticity. It protects you from rejection, but it also protects you from being truly known. Over time, the mask doesn't just hide your face, it buries your soul. Jung warned that the longer we identify with our persona, the more we drift away from the self, our real, unfiltered, inner core. And that disconnection is not harmless. It's the reason you can achieve your goals. Buy the house, get the promotion, have the picture-perfect family, and still feel that gnawing emptiness inside. Because no matter how well you play your role, the part of you that's hidden doesn't disappear. It lingers beneath the surface like a shadow, quietly influencing your thoughts, your choices, your moods. You might feel inexplicable sadness on a sunny day, sudden anger at a harmless comment, or a hollow feeling in the middle of a celebration. These are signals, messages from the self, trying to remind you that you're living as a character, not as yourself. In America, we glorify resilience and toughness in ways that can make this disconnection worse. We applaud people for pushing through, for never letting them see you sweat. We idolize the hustle, the grind, the curated image of success. But if the price of maintaining the mask is losing yourself, what kind of victory is that? Consider the quiet epidemic of burnout, anxiety, and depression in workplaces across the country. On paper, people are fine. They show up, meet deadlines, and smile in meetings. But underneath, they're running on empty. They've been playing their role for so long that they no longer know how to remove the mask without everything else collapsing. Or think about social media influencers who spend years building a perfect brand, only to have public breakdowns when they can't keep up the facade. The persona may look flawless, but behind it is often someone exhausted, lonely, and disconnected from any real sense of identity. Even in personal relationships, the mask can become a prison. Maybe you've been the reliable one in your family for so long that asking for help feels impossible. Maybe you've been the easygoing friend for so long that expressing a boundary feels like a betrayal. Over time, the people around you fall in love with the persona, not with you. And you can't even blame them, because you're the one who gave them the mask in the first place. The tragedy is that many people live and die without ever taking the mask off. They believe the persona is who they are. They confuse the applause for real connection, the approval for real love. And when they finally realize something is missing, they can't even name what it is. Jung believed that this disconnection is one of the deepest sources of human suffering. You can run from the truth for years, but eventually the cracks show. The mask begins to slip in moments of stress, grief, or vulnerability. And when it does, most people panic and rush to put it back on, afraid that if anyone sees the real face underneath, they'll be rejected. But here is the paradox. The people who have the courage to remove the mask to risk being seen fully, flaws and all, are the ones who find real freedom. Because when you live as your true self, you stop performing. You stop wasting energy on managing an image and start living a life that actually fits you. The question is, are you willing to face what's underneath? Are you willing to meet the version of yourself you've been hiding for years? Because that is where the real journey begins. And that is where we go next, into the part of you Jung called the shadow. The hidden half of your soul that holds both your deepest fears and your greatest potential. Carl Jung called it the shadow, the hidden side of your personality. It is the place where you store everything you've decided is unacceptable about yourself. Forbidden emotions, repressed desires, unresolved memories, and traits you've been taught to reject. The shadow isn't evil by default. It's not some sinister force lurking in the dark waiting to destroy you. In fact, much of what's in your shadow was once a natural part of you: your anger, your ambition, your sexuality, your vulnerability, until you learned that showing it could cost you acceptance or love, so you buried it. You can think of the shadow as a psychological basement. Over the years, every time you felt something that didn't fit your persona, you tossed it down the stairs, slammed the door, and pretended it wasn't there. Jealousy? Throw it in. Rage? Hide it away. Fear? Lock it up. Even your secret dreams and wild passions might end up down there if they didn't match the life you were supposed to live. In modern American culture, the shadow is especially neglected. We live in a society obsessed with appearances, always smiling for the camera, posting inspirational quotes, and chasing good vibes only. There's a billion-dollar self-help industry selling quick fixes and positivity hacks, all designed to make you feel like happiness is the only acceptable emotional state. The problem? This creates a dangerous pressure to deny anything that doesn't fit the script. If you're anxious, you're told to meditate it away. If you're angry, you're told to be the bigger person. If you're grieving, you're told to move on before you've even processed what happened. And if you dare to express anything raw or uncomfortable, you risk being labeled negative or toxic. So what do? We fake it. We paste on a smile and post the filtered photo. We tell ourselves we're over it when we're not. We keep conversations light, never letting anyone see the emotional depth we carry. The shadow grows heavier, and the split between who we are and who we pretend to be grows wider. Here is the truth Jung wanted us to understand. Ignoring the shadow doesn't to make it disappear. It just makes it act out in ways you can't control. That's why he warned, what you do not bring to consciousness returns as fate. The parts of you that you refuse to face will show up anyway, just not in the way you expect. Maybe you think you've dealt with your anger, but it slips out in passive-aggressive comments and sudden bursts of frustration. Maybe you believe you're over your childhood insecurities, but you keep sabotaging relationships before they get too close. Maybe you're convinced you've moved past your fears, but you always find a reason not to take that leap you've been dreaming about. The shadow is patient. It will wait years, even decades, for a chance to be seen. And the longer it waits, the more it distorts your life from behind the scenes. Let's be honest, it's not easy to look into the shadow. You might see things you're not proud of, petty jealousies, selfish impulses, parts of you that don't match the image you've built. But you'll also find lost treasures there, courage you thought you didn't have, creativity you abandoned, truths you've been too afraid to speak. Consider this. The same anger you were taught to suppress might actually be the fuel you need to set boundaries. The same envy you hide could point you toward the life you secretly want. The same fear you avoid could be a signpost to your greatest growth. The tragedy is that most people never get that far. Instead, they keep running from their shadow, filling their days with distractions, scrolling endlessly, binge-watching shows, shopping for things they don't need, anything to avoid sitting in silence with themselves. But the shadow is relentless. Every unacknowledged emotion will eventually demand to be felt. And when it erupts, it can be overwhelming, even destructive, if you haven't learned how to integrate it. Integration doesn't mean acting out every dark impulse. It means understanding where it comes from, why it exists, and how it can serve you instead of sabotaging you. Jung believed that by facing the shadow, you reclaim the energy you've been using to keep it buried. That energy can then be channeled into living authentically, creatively, and powerfully. In America, where so much emphasis is placed on personal branding and keeping it together, this is revolutionary. It's saying, I'm not here to be perfect, I'm here to be whole. It's rejecting the cultural obsession with constant positivity in favor of something deeper, self-awareness. So ask yourself, what emotions do I feel but never express? What parts of myself do I hide from the world? What do I secretly want that I'm too ashamed to admit? Your answers might surprise you, they might scare you, but they will also set you free, because every truth you face in the shadow is one less chain holding you back. The shadow is not your enemy. It's the map to the parts of yourself you've been missing. And if you have the courage to follow it, it will lead you back home to the self you've been searching for under all those layers of masks and expectations. Here is the paradox that Carl Jung understood better than almost anyone. The very part of yourself you've spent your life avoiding might be the key to your freedom. It sounds impossible. How could the traits you dislike, the emotions you fear, and the impulses you've been taught to suppress actually help you? Isn't the whole point of personal growth to fix those flaws? That is the lie we've been sold, the idea that freedom comes from erasing our so-called negative qualities. Jung's work turns that belief upside down. The shadow is not just a container for darkness, it's also a vault of untapped power. Every time you repress a feeling, you don't erase it. You lock away the energy it carries. And that energy, once reclaimed, can become a force for creativity, authenticity, and strength. Think about it. Anger, for example, is one of the most condemned emotions in American culture. We're told to calm down, stay positive, and be the bigger person. But anger, when understood, is not just rage, it's a boundary alarm. It's the voice that says, "This is not okay." If you've spent your life avoiding conflict, you've probably also avoided your anger. And in doing so, you've cut yourself off from the part of you that knows how to stand up for yourself. Imagine someone who's always been the peacemaker. They avoid confrontation at all costs. They smile when they're insulted. They say yes to favors they don't want to do. People describe them as kind, easygoing, and agreeable. But beneath the surface, resentment builds. They feel drained, unappreciated, even invisible. For years, they tell themselves they're just being nice. But the truth is, they're living in fear that if they show their true feelings, they'll lose love or approval. One day, something changes. Maybe it's a breakup. Maybe it's a work situation that pushes them too far. Suddenly, their anger erupts not as blind fury, but as clarity. They realize the problem isn't the people around them. It's that they've abandoned themselves. By confronting their shadow, by letting themselves feel and express that anger, they learn to set boundaries. For the first time, they say no without apology. They stop over-explaining their choices. They walk away from situations that drain them. And instead of losing love, they gain respect, most importantly, self-respect. This is the liberating power hidden inside the shadow. The traits we've been taught to hate often contain the exact qualities we need to become whole. Fear can teach caution, but it can also reveal where courage is required. Envy can point toward what you truly desire, showing you the gap between your current life and your potential. Even grief, as heavy as it feels, can strip away illusions and connect you to what really matters. Jung believed that integrating the shadow is the path to individuation, the process of becoming your full, authentic self. This doesn't mean indulging every impulse or justifying harmful behavior. It means meeting these hidden parts with awareness, learning from them, and allowing their energy to serve you instead of sabotage you. When you integrate the shadow, you stop being at war with yourself. You no longer waste energy suppressing parts of who you are. That reclaimed energy can be channeled into creation, connection, and meaningful action. It's like finding a locked room in your house that you thought was dangerous, only to discover it's filled with tools you desperately need. But here's the catch. Integration requires courage. It's not about reading a few motivational quotes or manifesting positivity. It's about looking in the mirror and admitting, yes, I am capable of jealousy. I do feel rage. I have fears I don't want to admit. It's about sitting with those truths without judgment and asking, what is this trying to teach me? In a culture obsessed with perfection and performance, this is a radical act. American society often rewards the persona, the curated image, while punishing the raw, human reality. But freedom isn't found in performing, it's found in truth. And the shadow holds truths you can't find anywhere else. This is why so many people feel stuck in cycles of pain. They try to fix themselves by polishing the persona, getting fitter, more productive, more agreeable, while ignoring the root cause of their suffering. But as Jung warned, what you do not bring to consciousness returns as fate. Until you face the shadow, you will keep replaying the same patterns, calling it bad luck, difficult people, or a cruel world. The irony is that the very thing you fear most in yourself is probably the missing piece of your power. The part of you that gets jealous might also be the part that knows you deserve more. The part of you that feels rage might also be the part that refuses to be mistreated. The part of you that feels deep sadness might also be the part that loves with your whole heart. When you stop running from these parts and instead invite them in, you transform. You stop living in reaction to life and start shaping it. You stop feeling like a victim of your own emotions and start using them as guidance. The shadow is not here to destroy you. It's here to complete you. And the moment you understand that, you stop fearing it. You start listening. And that's when everything begins to change. The truth is, the shadow won't integrate itself. It's not enough to simply know it exists. Awareness is the first step, but action, the consistent, conscious practice of meeting yourself fully, is where the transformation happens. So how do you begin? Step 1. Observe your emotional triggers. Pay close attention to the moments when you feel an intense reaction, anger, jealousy, shame. Fear, especially when the situation doesn't seem to warrant it. These reactions are rarely about the present moment alone. They're echoes from the past, signals from the shadow saying, "Look here, this is where I live." Instead of trying to push the feeling away, pause and notice it. Ask yourself, why is this hitting me so hard? What does this remind me of? You may be surprised at the memories or truths that surface. Step 2. Put it on paper or speak it out loud. The mind loves to blur and distort uncomfortable truths. That's why writing them down can be so powerful. Keep a journal, not to record the pleasant highlight reel, but to capture the raw, unfiltered reality. Describe the emotion. Name the fear. Admit the thought you'd never post online. If journaling feels too vulnerable, consider speaking these truths with a trusted therapist, coach, or deeply empathetic friend. Sometimes, hearing your own voice articulate what you've been hiding can be the first crack in the armor. Step 3. Practice radical acceptance. This might be the hardest step. We've been conditioned to think self-improvement means erasing our flaws. Integration is the opposite. It's about embracing the wholeness of who you are. That includes the parts you've labeled ugly or wrong. Radical acceptance doesn't mean you act out every impulse or indulge destructive habits. It means you acknowledge without shame that these impulses exist, and you listen to what they're trying to tell you. The shadow becomes dangerous only when it's denied. Seen and understood, it becomes an ally. Step 4. Stop trying to fix yourself, start becoming whole. Jung warned against the trap of chasing perfection. The goal is not to polish the persona until it's flawless. It's to dismantle the illusion that you need a flawless mask at all. Wholeness is messy. It's contradictory. It's human. When you allow space for every part of yourself, light and dark, you stop living in a constant state of self-rejection. And that, perhaps more than anything else, is freedom. Step 5. Let integration be a way of life, not a one-time event. The shadow is not something you conquer once and then forget about. Life will keep revealing new layers. Every relationship, every challenge, every loss will bring fresh opportunities to meet yourself more deeply. This is not a burden, it's the ongoing adventure of becoming fully alive. Integration is a lifelong conversation with your own soul. And here's the beauty. The more you integrate, the more energy you reclaim. The energy you once spent hiding, pretending, or performing can now be used to create, to connect, to live with intention. You stop moving through life like a scripted character and start experiencing it as the author. It's not about being fearless, it's about learning to walk with fear. It's not about erasing anger, it's about letting anger tell you where your boundaries are. It is not about eliminating sadness. It is about letting grief open your heart to love more fiercely. If you've made it this far, you've already taken the first and most important step, the willingness to look inward. That alone separates you from the millions who will spend their entire lives avoiding themselves. But I'll be honest, this path isn't easy. It will challenge you. It will ask you to let go of the comfort of denial. It will strip away illusions you've carried for years. But in that stripping away, something extraordinary happens. You find yourself. Not the self others told you to be. Not the self you've been performing. The real you. And here is the final truth I want you to hold on to. Maybe your freedom was never outside. Maybe it's been hiding in the dark, waiting for you to turn on the light. If this message has spoken to something inside you, if it sparked a thought, a question, or even a little discomfort, don't let it end here. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next awakening conversation we have together. And I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and share the lesson or insight that hit you the hardest. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. This isn't just content, it's a community of people daring to look within. Let's keep the conversation alive.